She's
7 o'clock in the morning.
Just like damn.
Now.
It's 7 a.m.
It's 7 a.m. Time for the opening drive.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico.
For 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
What's poppin'? How'd you handle your first weekend since September without any football? It was chilly too, was it not? You got a little Daytona 500, maybe some golf, some tennis. Lots of hoops, scoops, and alley-oops. What's good to you? Happy Monday and Merry President's Day. Hopefully you've got the day off. We're here working for you on a chilly. No, that's not right. It's flat out flipping cold. On a cold Monday morning, Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. What's good, man? How was the weekend?
The weekend was good. Just stayed inside, enjoyed what was on the tube, stayed warm, and moving on.
It's chilly, man. Did you get a bunch of snow?
I wouldn't say a bunch of snow. It's hard to tell with how much wind there was, but
yeah,
an inch or so maybe accumulated.
So it depends where the wind was blowing, right? I'm on the south side of the street, and so it blew that way. And so I had up against the garage door, about halfway through the garage, it was about 14 inches because snow, because it all blew that way. So yeah, I shoveled off that yesterday, and then I'll do it again today just to get the car out in and out of the garage. But interesting weekend. We got a lot to do, and want you to be part of it this morning at 505-246-0610. Emails are coming and already are. Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. You see on the on your screen if you're watching on ProView, 12 degrees. What does it feel like? Like -1. How was it? You know, for those of you who had to drive in, how are the roads? Were they good? I mean, you guys, Micah, Josh, Jason, you went downtown. Everything was good. All right, so that's good. If you got to get out on the roads, just be careful. Be careful. What'd you do? A bunch of hoops or what? Did you catch the Aggies turn it around? Another split on the road, which I think surprised all of us, right? That they lose the first one and then come back and win on Saturday.
How much trouble they're having in game ones.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks.
Yeah. And look, I don't know that I was all that surprised against Cal Baptist, because it was their first one back, and secondly, because I think Cal Baptist is decent. The Seattle one did surprise me. It did. And then they come back and win 65-58 against Seattle on Sunday. They get a split out of there. And so they were all about now 3 days in Vegas. And they probably were all about 3 days in Vegas anyway. But I guess I was surprised at who scored and who didn't. You know, Chris Jan said, basically, if you watch us, those were the three guys. It was Clayton Henry and Jabari Rice and Johnny McCants. Those were the guys who carried them. 19-6 for Jabari Rice, 16 points for Johnny McCants, which, by the way, I thought was really important to see him because his minutes had been sliding, his play had been sliding. McNair had been taking some of his time, and McNair only played, I think, 12 minutes on Saturday. And then Clayton Henry had 12 and 10. They do look like, I'll give it to Chris, they do look a lot better in game two of these series, and he's making adjustments. But to your point, I'm a little concerned about what they're doing and how they look in game one also.
Yeah, it was completely different. Game two is defense. Just like we saw against Cal Baptist, the combination in game two, the offense exploding with what they were doing defensively. Same thing happened Saturday. Now, it wasn't the same offensive outburst. It was just really good defense overall in game two against Seattle. The pieces are there for this team to be pretty good the rest of the way. And now it really is, as we just keep talking about with New Mexico State, consistency, getting on the court. It's a challenge for teams in the state of New Mexico right now, really across the board with all the various issues that they're dealing with. And you just want to see them get some consistency because obviously when they get on the court and then the players themselves are able to see things, they're adjusting. So as we've seen from game one to game two, Saturday went out there, it was grind out type of game defensively. I thought you're right when McCants is still the better player of the two right now. His versatility, the offense, but McNair is a big body that you just don't see in the WAC. So they have those pieces as long as they just keep growing together.
Next up, Utah Valley on Friday and Saturday of next week at Eastwood High School in El Paso, a home game for the Aggies, and so they're 2-4 in WAC play and try to get it back on track. So when we left you all on Friday, One of the last things we said is JJ will have Lobo women's basketball coming up for you at 12:30 and pregame show 1 o'clock, both Friday and Saturday against Colorado State. And you got the message, and it came out publicly about 15 minutes afterwards. You knew when I was saying it, I'm going to assume, because you told me right as we got off the air. COVID within the ladies program, and it's thrown that for a loop. So this is, I believe, the third series that they didn't play, right? The Colorado State series for the women.
Yep. So this
Good
time
thing they don't get paid by the game. Sorry.
Yeah. So this time it was a player that tested positive. The player was asymptomatic at the time. The team retested the following day. No further players have tested positive at this point in time, but they remained in Fort Collins as they await announcement on what's next. They're supposed to be up in Wyoming for their next series Wednesday, Friday this week. And of course, that's in doubt when you look at that 7-day timetable, but it was results that came in late Thursday night, early Friday morning after a round of tests last week, and put the series on pause. So that is the Utah State series, which was postponed / canceled, but it was postponed because they rescheduled it due to a staff member. And the Tier 1 San Jose State series after San Jose State just opted out of the season, and then Colorado State.
And Boise State, so it's 4.
Yeah.
The Boise State won it at the very beginning back in December, so there's no way that they're going to make all these up. That last week before conference tournament could be very busy. They could try to find ways to just wedge a few in. The reason geography was the reason with geography and weather. With this storm, there was no reason to put them on a bus, because you'd have put them on a bus, drove them home. This would have been on Friday, so the storm was already coming in there. But then you got them home and then somehow tried to get them up to Laramie, when in fact it's on a normal day without storms, 45 minutes from Fort Collins to Laramie. So you're right there. You keep them up there, and assuming that you're going to try to play this series, man, you lose 5 series. Like, if they don't play the Wyoming series, that's half the conference season, half of the season, which is astonishing. And this was a big series, JJ. We talked about it on Friday. This was one not only for seeding, but to start closing the season well, for them to start playing well. But this was a big one for the league. Are you hearing anything? Is of course JJ the voice of the Lady Lobos? Are you hearing anything about prioritizing what series and how everybody's schedule is going to line up? Because everybody's going to have multiple series to make up in that last week. Are you hearing how they're planning on prioritizing and setting some of these makeups?
Haven't heard anything on prioritizing some games above others. To your point, Eddie Nunez did say on Friday there's a possibility that the team could make up a couple games in Vegas before the Mountain West tournament. So just try to utilize a few days there. It could be one where maybe it's not 2 games, maybe heck, if you can get them in, maybe one game
versus
against Boise, one game against Colorado State, something along those lines. And we know going back to the start of this season, that Boise State series for both the men and the women came at a time where they just didn't feel like they were going to be ready. So that one was pushed off. The Boise State series hasn't been rescheduled. Utah State was. So we'll see what happens this week, because you would like at least a day or two to get back on the practice court before you get to the Wyoming series, because Wednesday would be 7 days, and if you have what we've seen usually in these situations where players test positive, it's a 7-day period off, nothing. It's quarantine, isolation for your basketball team before you can get back on the practice court.
And I'm not sure you're going to get that practice time. I mean, at this point, with the days, and I get it, and you want to get it, but at some point, you're going to have to play. Now, I don't know what the schedule looks like on the backside. Could they push this back to, instead of playing them on Wednesday, could they push them back till Thursday? Could they do that? Is travel going to work? Is the arena available? I'm going to guess it is. Their men's team is playing, supposedly, the Lobo men down at Clune Arena at the Air Force Academy. All right, so we'll get into all of that. The men, you know what it feels like to me? It feels a lot like September for college football, when everybody was playing but the teams around here. That's kind of what this, and this league didn't play a lot of games. There were a lot of, the Mountain West didn't play a lot of games. UNLV lost to Boise State on Saturday 61-59, and Fresno State beat Air Force 67-64, and that was it over the weekend, man. Everything else was postponed. Nevada, San Jose State was postponed. New Mexico was postponed. It's kind of what it feels like to me is everybody else is playing, but there's nothing, I probably like you, I watch New Mexico State games differently because I know we're going to have to speak about them in detail, where I'm probably not going to have to speak in detail about the UNLV Boise State game in the first. You know what I mean? It's kind of, it feels a lot like early season college football did to me.
It does, and it's still shocking when you open up that score app or you're going through the schedule and you see so many series across the board, not just in the Mountain West, but still in college basketball. You're dealing with it head on, and got into a flow. Of course, we saw the NFL season wrap up. NBA is going on, NHL, everyone's doing their thing, but the reality is there's still so many games that are being postponed and canceled through all this, and you're right. And then you get into one of these stretches where it's just unfortunate for both the UNM men and women that they had things happen at the same time, to have the series canceled. And I guess Fort Collins is a place that the Lobos are not meant to play this season.
Yeah, but they're meant to stay, not play. We'll talk about the latest on the men. Paul Weir's going to address the media today. We haven't heard from Paul since, what was the last time we heard from Paul? Was when they shut down the San Diego State series, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been over 2 weeks, I believe. So we'll hear from Paul today, but we'll get into the men. Get you through what the NCAA committee did in their bracket reveal yesterday or Saturday. Obviously, we're going to get through the NFL stuff because there's a lot of news in the National Football League, NBA as well, some big names that are on the shelf. The tennis, the golf, the Daytona, it's all on the table for you. The phone number to get in is 505-246-0610. That's how to find us today. You can send emails, Jeff or JJ, at 610knml.com. Follow JJ on the Twitter. It's a terrific follow. It's underscore JJ Buck. And on the Facebook, it's the OD in the AM. And don't forget, you can watch the show on ProView Networks. Go to their Facebook page. Go to our Facebook page, the OD in the AM. Go to their YouTube page or ProViewNetworks.com. We'll talk about a little men's basketball, give you an update on that next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish. What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Has to go, they've got a shot, they have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good! What a three that is by Jalen.
Hito puts it up.
Rebound, Cowboys. Right side, David Hall. Thank you very much.
Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Dunk you luscious. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's gonna run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson.
Well, the weather app may say 9 degrees. Feels like -1. That's what it says. Maybe the commute downtown was a little slick, but spring training's open. That's right. Arizona, Florida, they don't have this thing called winter. Try to explain to people, man, this white stuff falls out of the sky. It's colder than a pimp's heart. Slick on the ground, it's tough to walk. You got to shovel it. They're like, what? My brother called me yesterday. Yeah, dude, it's 72. We're just pulling into Santa Monica. We're going to go for a little hike and have a picnic on the beach. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Come shovel my driveway. Spring training begins as well. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Mike, how was the commute downtown? Not bad?
Yeah, wasn't bad for me.
All right. Now, just the roads were good? Everything's cleared?
Yeah, for the most part. It was a little bit slick in some areas. Just a little bit of black ice, but it was mostly good.
Just a little bit of a big deal. See, that's the thing around here. Well, if you do have to work today, and I know a lot of people have the day off, it is President's Day. Be careful and take your time getting to wherever it is you happen to be. JJ, we're going to hear an update on Lobo men's basketball today. Paul Weir scheduled to speak. What is it, 1:30, whenever it is today. Jans goes at 11:30. He does his weekly press conference, and then Paul Weir is going to talk about his program. I'm going to assume we're going to hear they're going tomorrow, or going up to Colorado Springs tomorrow. They're going to play at Clune Arena on Wednesday against Air Force. Is that kind of what? No, it's Tuesday. They play tomorrow, don't they?
So here's what you got over the weekend. If you follow the Lobo men's basketball on the social media, you could do some sleuthing because they posted some practice pictures. This is what we got. We got Javante Johnson, Kurt Wegschneider, Manuel Quach Malawach, Saquon Singleton, Rod Brown, Isaiah Mara, and Jordan Arroyo were in practice photos posted by the Lobos this weekend. So those were some of the players that were on the basketball court. Yes.
Is that 8 names you just gave me? All right. Scheduled to go on, it's Wednesday, right? Wednesday, yeah. Against Wyoming. So they would head up there tomorrow. I would imagine tomorrow. They flying on this trip, or are they driving on this trip?
Don't know.
Tomorrow's going to be a brutal day to drive up there. We're getting another storm coming in. All right, so you got 8 guys in practice. You didn't say either one of the bigs, did you? I didn't hear you say Carlon Bragg or Alvaldo Emmanuel.
There was just 3 to 4 photos that were posted, and there could have been more players, but those were players that were wearing practice jerseys, practicing,
and they put up
weekend
pictures
for sure.
Yeah. This is where people get upset. Well, you're speculating. Well, that's all you can do. It's been radio silence out of there since Eddie spoke on what was the Colorado State game canceled? Was it Tuesday? Right? Eddie spoke, and but it's radio silence, so that's all you can do is speculate. You'll hear some stuff today from Paul, but by all indications, right? They're playing this game now. Hell, by all indications, they were playing the last one. They were on the floor before it started, and when they have that test, but I got to believe, JJ, if there were more positives, we'd have heard. Have you heard anything on continued testing, right? If they're out there, they're out of quarantine, then everybody tested negative.
If they're out there practicing, then no other players tested positive at this point in time.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of, again.
And that's been the difference in this situation is a player did not test positive, so they've kind of avoided that mandatory 7 days away from the court.
Whereas the women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women had a player test positive, and thus everything is shut down for them.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I guess, I don't know, man. I don't even know where I feel. I know what I kind of expect. I just don't know what to feel. You know, I mean, do I even expect that they'll play at this point? You know, and I'm like, usually I do. I look forward to game nights. I look forward to talking about it the next day. I look forward to, you know, what, in so many respects, you wrap your night around, you know, a little basketball game, and you got to watch it, and you want to watch it. I mean, I think I'm watching one on Wednesday, right? Are you are you excited about the season anymore? Are fans excited about the season?
I think the
so.
excitement for the season left a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't think you ultimately you're 1-11. I think there's still just a lot of fans that watch from being the diehard fan. Others, as we've discussed plenty, tune it out at this point in time. But yeah, I want to watch these teams finish the season. I was super excited for Friday and Saturday on the women's side, and that was a bummer, but it's still the reality of the situation. Like, there is still a pandemic going on. COVID is still a real thing. And unfortunately, both these teams were hit with issues right at the same time.
Yeah. All right. So Lobos set to play Wednesday at Air Force versus Wyoming. Wednesday, Friday is that series. Then they would stay up there and play the final scheduled series of the season against Wyoming. And then there's that makeup week, and they'll presumably play somebody there, right? Whether it's Boise State, San Diego State, or Colorado State. Which one feels the most I mean, everybody's got series to make up. It feels like San Diego State's going to play UNLV. Is that kind of, if they do series, it feels like that's where that's going to go?
Yes, that would, I guess, be better for San Diego State ranking-wise, potentially. It's not as bad as playing New Mexico, but also at this point in time, the Mountain West has to make their decision. And Eddie Nunez did touch on this on Friday. He said the conference has scenarios out there, but they have not made the final decision because you're all not going to play the same amount of games. It's just not going to be possible to fill in some of these schedules because guess what? It's not just the Lobos that haven't been able to take the court. Yeah. Now they're the program that's getting the most vile through this. I even saw people like mad at UNM for the women's game being postponed. Like, oh, here's that school again. And it's like, okay, but did y'all see San Jose State opting out of the season? Did y'all see the other programs that are other games that are being postponed outside of it? It's just at a situation where you're running out of time, and you would hope sooner rather than later the Mountain West could get that decided in terms of what the final standings are going to be decided by, because it's not going to be games played.
No, it's going to be winning percentage. Nevada, San Jose State got shut down over the weekend. UNLV's lost, they lost 30-something days. Games are getting shut down everywhere. Just, you know, as I look at it, league games, Boise State has played 15. New Mexico's played 12. UNLV's played 12. Fresno State's played 14. Nevada's played 14. San Diego State's played 11. They've had the most canceled, right? And I don't think they've had a COVID issue yet. But it's been, you know, their opponents who've continued to have it. So it's going to be an odd number of games. The number that they were targeting was 20. They will not get to 20. Nobody will get, I don't believe. But I think they got to figure out who's going to play who. And this could be where that Conference USA model comes in. You know, who lost, what series are most important to play? You make up New Mexico, and I mean, they've got Boise, San Diego State, and Colorado State, right? I mean, you know, those are three of the top 4 teams in the league. So who are you going to make them up? Who gets to play them, and who's going to go play somebody tougher? But the league, I think to Eddie's point, the league isn't certain how many more games are going to get shut down. do they make? Let's say a series gets canceled in that final week. Do you just make that one up because that's where they were, or geographically the teams are already there? You know what I'm saying? So you may not know until that last week.
Yeah,
who you're going to make
from
the series with.
The scheduling perspective, that could
hard.
be literally days out at this point in time. You could be sitting there on Wednesday and be like, all right, you got to be here by Friday to play this game or this series ahead of the Mountain West tournament. But I think we're getting to the point where we'll get an announcement from the league, because they're unfortunately dealing with the same thing now on the women's side with the Lobos, who hope to be in a regular season title race. Just unfortunately, the amount of series that they've missed, and the Colorado State one was huge for them. This was going up against first place team in the conference, not only to see where you are as a team, but in that battle for standings, seeding, going towards Las Vegas. And the point you brought up last week too, that's what I thought was a really good one. It was an opportunity, I think, for women's basketball to really, if they had a good performance in this series, start stealing some of the headlines and making it actually about the game of basketball.
Yeah, and just really steal the hearts of this community who's dying in a basketball town for something to latch onto, and COVID stole that opportunity. The other thing is, I like what Eddie had to say, and it makes a ton of sense. The thing that doesn't make sense is having a bunch of teams together in one place, but to keep them separate, go to their own hotels. Practice time is going to be tough, but to get them to Vegas a week early and maybe have them all play 3 games, right? And so if San Diego State's got series against New Mexico, Boise State, and somebody else, then they play them each once. Maybe New Mexico plays Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego State once. I mean, that sounds like bang, bang, bang. But I don't hate that concept if you can pull it off safely. And again, getting them all, it limits the travel, but it's got everybody in one town. Now, keep them separated, keep them in different hotels, keep them, you stay with your COVID-safe practices. There is no ideal solution to this thing, but we're getting to a point where they're going to have to figure this thing out. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. We'll go through NFL stuff as we come back. When we left you on Friday, Chris Doyle was the strength and conditioning coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and universally, except for Urban Meyer, everybody was telling you it was a bad idea. Well, it was a bad idea. Talk about that next. On the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes a.
Ramos, nice jump stop to the. Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a. Hill, little step, high window. And
Got the second.
To the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window finishes.
There's a run coming from
lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime.
Last we spoke, there was a lot of conversation about Urban Meyer's selection for strength coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chris Doyle was his guy. Chris Doyle was the guy who spent 20 years at Iowa. I have no doubt is very, very good at what he does. He is also the guy who was run out of Iowa after more than 50 African-American players came out and said that he made racist comments, treated the black players differently. Many of those things along the line. I think you're familiar with the story. And so you sat here and you sat, you scratch your beard and you say, how can Urban Meyer in his first hire, how can that be where he goes? It seemed tone deaf, it seemed insensitive, it seemed arrogant, it seemed privileged, it seemed, all those words that you came out with. And over the weekend, Chris Doyle resigned his post as the strength coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck, J. Pole and Josh are producing. I don't know what the hell they're eating, man, but it's like literally food like right at the camera's eye. So as they cut it, you're grubbing, but you get a little eggs and bacon. It looks like. Micah's on the radio side. J.J., I guess I was a little surprised that Chris Doyle stepped down. I don't know how they thought this was going to slide. I don't know how they thought this was going to be deemed okay. In a country where I think we are all about second chances and people getting a second chance, this felt raw and new. It felt tone deaf. It felt arrogant. It felt like everything about it stunk. And I'm really in my mind trying to differentiate. Well, yeah, but I just watched the Tiger Woods thing again. Well, you got a second chance, but you kind of got to pay your dues and work your way back, and it just didn't feel like this was going to work on any level.
And it's also a second chance from what? Because not all second chances are created equally. Like, not all mistakes are ones that everyone is just, oh, yeah, that was no big deal, just get back out there. Second chance, no biggie. Like, if the stuff went down, like he was let go from the University of Iowa. They parted ways with this strength and conditioning coach at the time due to allegations, alleged racial issues as well. And then you think you're just going to drop him right off the bat in an NFL locker room, and that's going to be good, or any locker room at this point in time. Now, there's a lot of work that needs to be done by Chris Doyle as well, and this was 100% Urban Meyer just giving his guy a second chance, which, okay, you want to do that, but you best be ready for everything that comes. And they weren't ready at all. And they backtracked like crazy over the weekend. And like, oh, we didn't anticipate this would happen. You didn't anticipate it? You didn't think people would notice? Urban Meyer, who, by the way, is not the cleanest guy ever. Somehow, some way, Urban Meyer, when he was hired by the Jaguars, it was just like, wow, Jacksonville got Urban Meyer. Let's go. Whoa. And it's like, did you see how it ended for him at Florida? And then Ohio State, there's a lot more going on with Urban Meyer than just a dude that can win football games. So absolutely is one that the organization should have faced a ton of questions, and ultimately they realized, oh, maybe this was doing way too much, as you laid out, for Urban Meyer, because still, yeah, it's professional football. Y'all got a job to do, but you still got to have a good feel on your organization and locker room. And it felt like outside of Urban Meyer, no one was really on board with this Chris Doyle thing, because like, oh, who's Urban hiring? Okay, that's cool. Then the stories hit and everyone's like, oh, maybe we should have thought about this.
Yeah, so I think to earn your way back, I don't know that he'll ever work again. I would assume he will. There's got to be contrition. Like I go back to Tiger, Alex Rodriguez, and I understand different discretions, okay? And I'm well aware. So I was watching the Tiger thing, and I watched it with a different perspective because Audra had it on, and she was watching it for the first time, right? And she's like, she felt different, right? She's like, I hated him during that whole thing, the womanizing thing, and I don't blame her, right? She was angry, she hated him, but you watch the process of Tiger coming back from him hitting rock bottom to, he coming out and he makes that press conference with his mom sitting in the front row just looking at him, and he apologizes for letting everybody down, and then he gets pulled over, doesn't know where he is when he's on all the prescription meds, and just rock bottom, and watching him. There was a process, right? A-Rod got suspended for a year from Major League Baseball. Now again, granted, it feels like, well, certainly not in Tiger's case, was there a victimless crime. This is different. I'm trying to think of a guy other than Riley Cooper who survived racial stuff, accusations, lost his position, or her position for that matter, and was able to come back and get that second chance. Do you have one? Because I'm not sure I do.
And that's why, and ultimately, I can't look at Alex Rodriguez and Tiger Woods in this case and be like, oh, they got second. Well, yeah, Alex Rodriguez did performance-enhancing drugs.
Yep.
Okay.
No, I get it.
Like, and that's just my thing in this is like all second chances aren't created equal, and with Chris Doyle, there's more there than just allegations to lose your position like that. There absolutely is, especially at the University of Iowa, where that coaching staff was so tight. Like it felt like they've been there for 800 years. Kirk Ferentz and everyone else at the University of Iowa, and especially when you talk about character and what you want in a locker room and what you want in an organization, even at a professional level. And so this was one that was just Urban Meyer, all right, you want to do your boy a favor with, and you got to be able to deal with it, and he wasn't.
What about Urban Meyer? How does he come out of this? Because it feels to me like for a guy who probably doesn't even know the first name of every one of those guys in the locker room, other than if their number's not attached to it, right? Still learning the guys in that locker room, still trying to earn their respect. Look, Urban Meyer is a very, very accomplished college football coach. Very good college football coach. To your point, he is hardly squeaky clean. There's a ton of questions about his character. He's a very good football coach at the college level. Now he's making the move to a different level. Grown men with like somebody. The best way I heard it, these, in college you got dudes rolling up in some old car they got, or they're taking the bus or trying to get a ride. Now you got dudes rolling up to practice, rolling up to work with baby seats in the back, right? I mean, these are grown men with bills to pay. This is their job. It's a different world, man. And how does he go in there? And he made the hire. He made, by every respect, a tone-deaf hire. How does he earn the respect of these guys in that room now? Does it work? Like, because I told you when it went down, I think Urban Meyer's going to win there. He's won everywhere he's been. I think he's going to win here. I'm not so sure that this, like, why set up obstacles? I always tell people in our organization, man, we're going to have problems. We're going to have drama that's organic. Stuff happens because life happens. We don't need to create our own problems. He created a pretty big rift in his locker room. And I think guys got to be not only questioning Chris Doyle, but questioning the guy who was so tone deaf and so insensitive to go out and hire that guy. And that's whether you agree with that or not, that's going to be their perspective. And they made it pretty clear.
And for a team that hasn't even been able to take the field together, they're still so far off from workouts, just getting together, having those moments of people getting to know their head coach. And this is when you want to drop it. Like, you have zero NFL cred. You don't have anything established within that organization yet. And yet, as you said, you already put this obstacle in your way. It was just such a bad decision at the time. Like, if you can, we've seen it. Like, that's the way it works. You have friends, coaching trees, ladders, etc. You're going to give them another opportunity. But in this case, Urban should have absolutely waited. Let Doyle figure some things out probably on his end, maybe get a year in as the head coach of Jacksonville, then make a decision like this, which, all right, if you see some success from Urban Meyer, things are looking pretty good in year one in Jacksonville, then you can be like, hey, this is someone that I respect, that's been away, that's shown all right, he knows what happened and what he's going to be moving forward, or bringing him in, and you give him this chance. Just how quickly everything went down, the fact that you've done nothing yet in Jacksonville, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because you have to earn the respect, at least on a business level, work level with that locker room, and this wasn't something that was going to do that.
Yeah. All right. Love your thoughts on this, because I'm not sure. And look, maybe when they get there, you think, well, it'll blow over. I don't know, man. This is one of those things, and look, we're in it's a very sensitive and real issue, in a very, very sensitive and charged time in our country, and there is no track record for Urban Meyer to go lean back on with this group. You know, if this was Bill Belichick, it'd be bad, right? If this was an established coach, you'd look at it, but this is a guy who is not established, who does not have a relationship with anybody on that team. And how that goes and how he turns that around, I'm not really sure how that plays. All right, when we get back, I got more news for you coming out of the NFL this morning. You got a fine coming out of the Super Bowl. Did you see a fine for taunting? Texans have made an expression on what they want to do with Deshaun Jackson. And Carson Wentz is still an Eagle, but for how long? 505-246-0610 is how you get here. 888-922-0610. Emails are coming in this morning, and I'll get to those. Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com, and, of course, find us on the Twitter _JJBuck. Watch the show on the Facebook, the OD and the AM. J. Pole and Josh, with their full bellies, are producing for you on the ProView side. Micah at Radio Ranch, he went downtown too, produced on the radio side. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
Protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles, look out! Chavez up the sideline, stays in bounds, touchdown! Volcanovic!
That replay,
I got you.
Measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
Run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Javier now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up. Man's wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Guyan. Chavez dropping. Looking. Stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho. Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and.
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off. Great hit. bounces off, outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Wants another!
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores. Got into it. And had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side foot. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
All right, hope you survived your first weekend since September without football. Yeah, it was weird. Watching Daytona, watching Pebble. You watch any Pebble Beach? Did you watch Top Golf? What'd you look at? Movies? The Trump trial? Like what'd you watch? Opening Drive, Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. You can watch the show on ProView Networks, of course, and listen to us at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Still NFL news dominating. The Texans have said that they are not trading Deshaun Watson. That doesn't mean that offers are still not coming in, but we'll see where that goes. JJ, it was reported that Antoine Winfield was fined $7,815, which is just an odd number. It's not a huge number, for taunting during the Super Bowl, for giving the peace sign to Tyreek Hill after making a play. He got flagged. He got his 15 yards. At what point is it double jeopardy? Like you get fined for illegal hits. You get fined for targeting a guy's head. You get fined if they look at it late. You're going after a guy's knees and trying to hurt him. You get fined a guy. First of all, what a bizarre number, $7,815. For giving that guy the peace sign, who gives you the peace sign all the time, who taunts on every touchdown he scores. Can you help me understand? Because for the life of me, I don't. You're muted. No, you're not muted?
I would say, how many others have they had this season? Like, are we knowing about it just because it's a Super Bowl issue? Like, no one likes it. Like, everyone was like, Tyreek Hill does it all the time. He doesn't get flagged. Antoine Winfield does it after the play, and he gets hit with a flag, then a fine. So I would first say how many others have happened, fines that have come down for those situations. I think it's ridiculous anyway that he was hit with that, with all that goes on, and the things that we see get refs' attention. Oh, that's taunting, a peace sign running off the field, and the dude does a peace sign running into the end zone every single time, and I don't think I see flags thrown on that one. So I'm with you. I think it's overkill at this point in time, but I will say what other fines were out there throughout the season on calls like this.
All right. So I'm with you, and I'd listen to perspective. I will tell you, if you're going to flag me, which is ridiculous in its own right, and then fine it. It's overkill to me. They put a number of years ago. They put celebrations back in the game. They permitted celebrations. It's okay to go out and do these planned celebrations in the end zone. You guys who are human bowling pins, and you got guys doing campfires and synchronized day. All that's okay. At some point, so the only play you can celebrate is a touchdown. A defensive guy can't celebrate a big sack in a Super Bowl or make it a big play in a Super Bowl.
They can celebrate. You just can't. No, I'm not saying. I agree with it. You can't direct it at someone, because the teams all the time after an interception run to the end zone camera and do their thing.
Yeah. All right.
It's
so
just
Tyreek
where they're apparently drawing the line is after the play directing at someone. If you did it during the play, it would have been fine.
Oh, so if I came up to you and did the peace sign and then knocked you down and knocked the ball down, that'd have been cool.
Yeah.
If I'd have come in like that.
That's how you have to plan it. You have to do it during the play.
That's such crap. I mean, it's ridiculous, to be honest. And if a guy's going to be – this is the whole – if you're going to give it, you got to take it. Who were we having this conversation about the other day? But if you're going to give it, you got to be able to take it. And if you're going to constantly run past dudes and taunt them as you're going into the end zone, and you get taunted once, like if you're going to flag Antoine Winfield and fine him, how's Tyreek Hill getting away with all that?
I think the best decision here would have just been to not throw a flag.
Thank you. Yes. No, that's the right answer. The right answer is
too much, NFL. Doing too much.
Yeah, the right answer is neither, right? Don't throw the flag. Don't fine. Let them do their thing.
Like, just be the ref that they usually do, where they run in there like, hey, calm it down, let's go. Sidelines, back to it. Like, do one of those things. Like, the taunting, he didn't take his helmet off and start swinging it or dancing over the top of someone. It was just, you gave him a peace sign and ran off the field. I'm right there with you, man. This is one that just... It's a head scratcher.
Yeah, it bothers me a little bit. I don't even know why it bothers me, but it does. Just because the double standard, the hypocrisy, it's just so stupid. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Did you catch any of Trevor Lawrence's pro day on Friday?
Throwing bombs?
Yeah. I'm not sure that he impressed or upped or lowered his stock. 17 teams were there. 17.
I think he's pretty firmly considered the number one overall pick regardless.
Yeah, I always wonder about this, and this is where people tell me about expense reports and travel, and it's fat and we're bloated. And I got the 17th pick of the draft, but I'm going to send someone down to Trevor Lawrence's.
Well, who else was there? Was there any wide receivers or anyone else maybe getting some routes in that you're hoping to get there? Now, I will say it was good to see him out there, given the fact he has to undergo surgery, but it's his non-throwing shoulder. So you sit on the shelf 4 to 5 months, probably going to be mostly a virtual offseason anyway. He'll be right there ready August, September for training camp and be good to go.
Yeah, I think we know where this is going. He's going to be Urban Meyer's guy. How do you think he feels about that? Like, he's going into a weird locker room
he's got
now, isn't he?
Create and then save Urban Meyer's NFL career. It is all on Trevor Lawrence.
Well, in large respect, I guess it is. That's a hell of a burden. And it's probably more of a burden because it's Urban Meyer and what just went down. It probably puts more on Trevor Lawrence. He didn't create this. I'm not sure he wants it. But that's the quagmire in which he will fall.
1 minute.
He's going to go into that, and it's a lot to put on that young man. Well, by the way, they were 1-15, and when they won their first game of the year, they've lost 15 in a row.
It's a tough streak. A lot of work to be done.
Good. They're cruddy. All right, I got to get into Carson Wentz. There's a lot of Dak talk this morning, too. A scenario that we didn't really think about is being thrown around with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. We'll get there. How about that crash at the end of at the end of Daytona yesterday? Dang. A long day if you were watching Daytona, too. How about that eagle at the end of Pebble Beach yesterday? Daniel Burgermeister. 505-246-0610. Glad you're with us on ProView Networks and 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Go into the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Heavyweight tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Could have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10! Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Cano Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle.
The usual morning lineup. 7 in the morning.
7 o'clock in the morning. 7 a.m. Where have you been? 7 a.m. Where is your brother?
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is the opening drive with two-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and J.J. Bach.
Here's Keselowski trying to make the move on Logano. Logano throws the block. Logano leads down the back straightaway. Keselowski's in line. Now he turns him. Both Team Penske cars crash. Keselowski is up in a ball of flame, up into the outside wall. He'll take Kyle Busch with him. Everybody now racing off the corner in a horrific crash on the final lap of the Daytona 500.
And we are now getting word from NASCAR. The winner of the 63rd running of the Daytona 500 is indeed Michael McDowell. They can go ahead and celebrate now. It will be a victory by mere inches. McDowell wins the Daytona 500.
You heard that here on the Sports Animal yesterday. Joey Logano was winning on the final lap, and his teammate Brad Keselowski tried to pass him, turned him, spun, and it was fiery. It was horrific.
The horror! The horror!
Horror. And the Great American Race goes to Michael McDowell. That was nuts, huh?
Is there any NASCAR super speedway race that does not end like a scene in Talladega Nights? Like the way they are grouped together at the end, always just like it's a final lap, the checkered flag is out. Oh my God, 12 cars are upside down. balls of fire everywhere, and Michael McDowell wins.
One dude's celebrating. How'd you like to be the guy? Well, both those guys, right? I mean, Penske's looking at it. The Penske teams go, we're finishing 1-2. Look at that. We're 1-2. We're 1-2. And then my guy took out my other guy. And those two are going to be sitting in an office today, maybe masked and probably not. And they're going to get an earful because, boy, oh boy, honestly, that's my team. I'm 1-2. I've survived this 5-hour delay and it took forever to get here. And my two guys wrecked the field. My two guys took each other out. They were going 1-2. My two guys made all this happen, and I got nothing. It was nothing. And if you're watching on ProView, the guys are showing you that right now, and you just it's insanity the way this all ended up. And I mean, I guess that's exciting, right? I mean,
well, it was very exciting. Now the fresh Joey Logano was very calm after the race because you understand it was Michael McDowell that started all of that. The third car, so the run he made, it pushed the second place car forward right into the back of Joey Logano. So the dude that won the Daytona 500 straight up cleared the path in front of him, knocking out everyone else. Because if you watch the run that they make, all of a sudden he gets this momentum right into the back of the second place car. Then that hits Joey Logano. Those dudes are flying all across the track, and he just comes right through like, yeah, rubbing his racing, baby.
Winner, winner. Get me some chicken. Yep. Wait, that's not how it goes. I know.
McDonald's.
All right. Yeah, or McDowell's. 505-246-0610. That's how to get here. 888-922-0610. Gopher said Michael McDonald or whoever was winning NASCAR's biggest race is like a 12 seed winning the NCAA tournament. Kind of like that, right? Kind of like that. He said, I haven't seen a wreck that big since Global Basketball was supposed to play San Diego State. Ooh, see what he did there? You can send emails, jeff@610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. All right, what do you think of this is being floated around on the Dak Prescott front? I think the Cowboys still want to sign him. Word is, not from Dak, but from everybody else, that Dak still wants to be there. Now there's the possibility, and I find this to be slight, but I didn't know that 18 times, JJ, after a guy had signed a franchise tag, that player had been traded. Did you know that? Because I did not.
Didn't.
And there's a conversation about them signing him to a franchise tag and them trading him. I don't know the benefit there, other than for the team that would get him, other than you got him this year. For the Cowboys, you get assets for Dak, but for the team, I guess you could have him this year. You could have him at 37 million.
Any benefit of a trade is guaranteeing you're getting said person versus
hoping you get him
having that person negotiating with others and yourself.
Yeah. I guess I could see that happening. Where would you see that? San Francisco?
Well, and if it gets to that point, is Dallas done with Dak Prescott? Ultimately,
I don't think they want to be.
And years, money, we can get over. He's not becoming the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So you can slow down with that take. People always like, oh, he's not making more money than Patrick Mahomes. Like, no one is for a long time.
Nor should he be.
Like, yeah, that's not happening. This isn't a situation where this is the next biggest contract ever.
And by the way,
one where you're,
yeah, no, and I want you to finish. Nor should he be getting Carson Wentz money. And you can tell me he's better than Carson Wentz, but I think teams are realizing Carson Wentz, Jared Goff money is getting them in trouble. And
then he's not going to sign. That's what a quarterback is worth.
See, I don't know
Carson
that
Wentz, Jared Goff money, he is worth that for an NFL team. It's just when you're signing one of these quarterbacks, it's what hurts you a lot is the guarantees and then the cap hit. But are you signing him with the belief? If you believe he is a good quarterback and he will come back healthy, then you shouldn't be scared. Like the Jared Goff situation, like they still went to a Super Bowl. They were a playoff team with him. So the Rams were not hindered by that. The Rams themselves just felt like he ultimately
wasn't the guy.
Didn't have like that sixth gear. And so they made that move versus, Carson Wentz was just an outright disaster this season, and we've seen turnover in the coaching staff, and then now him on the trade market.
Let me ask you this. Can the market correct itself, or once the quarterback market goes up, it can never come back? Because take Mahomes out of this. Mahomes is a different beast. You look at some of these big numbers, and I'm thinking right off the top before even really looking through it. I'm just thinking the contracts that were given to Garoppolo, Goff, and Wentz. And the return, and you're right, but the Rams went to a Super Bowl before Goff got paid. Do you think those teams would do it again? So can the market correct itself when it comes to quarterbacks, or once it hits a certain point, that's it, man. It's not coming back. It does nothing but go up.
Well, I would say it's not Dak's fault that Carson Wentz flamed out.
Again, I'm going market.
Yeah, and that right now, you look at those salaries, and that's not crazy. The bad one and all that was Jimmy Garoppolo, because they paid him.
And that
before
was the first one. Yeah.
That was the one where you're like, all right, what are you doing? If you're the Rams, that made sense at the time. You just saw an offense that felt like every other week was scoring 50 points. You went to the Super Bowl. You had a bad game. You lost 13-10 to the Patriots, but you had Wonder Boy Sean McVay. And you felt, all right, this thing is going off. Dak's going to make a lot of money. And to your point, you got to make a business decision at some point and say, all right, we'll pay you what we feel you're worth. If you don't like it, then that's where I think the franchise tag trade comes in.
I just wonder how long Cowboys want to continue to do this. I think they want Dak. I think they offered him 5 years. He wanted 4. Right? Typically, it's the other way around. It's the player who wants more security than the franchise is willing to give him. I just think they're going to get to a point, and they're gonna say, all right, what are we doing, man? I'm tired of going into every offseason. I'm tired of it all being about this. I think they want to get it wrapped up as much as he does, and you're sitting there saying, then why the hell don't they?
Well, now is about timing. We're not having Dak Prescott contract. Other big contracts aren't getting done right now until there's an official announcement on what next year's salary cap is going to.
Understood.
So we're kind of in this purgatory of where I get it. We're discussing this again. Is Dak Prescott good or not? Do you want him to be your quarterback?
Yes. Yes. And
so ultimately, there's so many people that are we're doing this again, but now it's just kind of that waiting period until the NFL makes that announcement of, all right, this is what next year's salary cap is going to look like, and then you can, as an organization, say, all right, this is where we're at, what we need to do moving forward.
By the way, Deshaun Jackson isn't getting traded because his name's Deshaun Watson, and I apologize for that, Micah.
You never know. They could get traded together. They're both in Philadelphia. Excuse me, Deshaun Jackson and Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz. All those guys could be traded, so who knows? Just throw names out there. We'll see what happens.
Surprised the Zach Ertz thing is on the market because I think they're a year late on this. Zach Ertz, they want a lot for Zach Ertz, and with all due respect, and I thought he was one of the top 2 tight ends in the league for a good 4 years, but he slipped last year, and what they're trying to get for him and for Carson Wentz, I think they're going to be on the market for a long time. They're not going to get it. Word was Indianapolis offered two number 2s for Wentz, and they're saying hell no. They're not getting a Matt Stafford package. With as much as they want that, because somebody has taken on a gigantic contract with Carson Wentz for a guy who came off a season in which he got benched by a second-round pick. As much as they want to market the Carson Wentz, who was an MVP candidate, everybody's got eyes, man. Everybody saw what happened last year. Everybody saw that you benched him for Jalen Hurts. And now you're trying to put him on the market. With all due respect in this one, if you're a team that's looking for a quarterback, are you certain Carson Wentz is better than Mac Jones or guy out of BYU, Zach Wilson, or Justin Fields? You're not, are you? There's a lot of quarterbacks that are on the market right now that I would say I would take that guy as opposed to one of the quarterbacks that are coming out. Did you watch Carson Wentz this year? What makes you think that if you're going to take a chance, and drafting one of these guys is taking a chance, but taking Carson Wentz is a chance, and Carson Wentz is coming at you at $30-something million a year, where one of these rookies is on a rookie contract.
Absolutely agree with you on that one. This is a situation, if I was a good football team, and we kind of just keep pointing Indianapolis, Frank Reich, that connection. Frank Reich was the OC when the Eagles won their Super Bowl. But, of course, it wasn't Carson Wentz. In that game, it was Nick Foles throwing for 500 yards. But still, feel like he would know what he is getting in that quarterback. And if I'm in Indianapolis, I think that's a good starting point in negotiations. All right, here's 2 twos. Or I'll give you my 1 next year. You're not getting more than that. It's either you can have 2 twos, maybe, I don't know, 4th, 5th round pick, something like that. Just feel like you want a little bit more, or 1 first-round pick, which would be a late first-round pick if you feel you're going to be a good football team. Because I'm not putting more out there for Carson Wentz with all the things that you just laid out.
No, plus I'm taking on his salary. It's a gigantic risk. In a lot of respect, Frank Reich's putting his career on the line, his head coaching career. Right? He's going to put all his eggs into that basket. And I think if the price is too steep, you go, all right, let me see what else is there. Right? What am I going to be able to get with my draft pick? Who else is on the market? Hell, at that point, do you take a chance with Mitchell Trubisky and say, I can make something out of Mitchell Trubisky and he'll be cheap? I mean, at some point, where do you go? If Indianapolis gets a quarterback, and they will, is Jacoby Brissett an option for New England?
Jacoby Brissett is a stopgap option.
Okay.
So if there's another swing and a miss of trying to find something that can be more than just a 1-year play at the position, yeah.
I think what they want is, but there's still, my gut tells me Jim Garoppolo goes back. Do you still feel that? The Belichick didn't want to get rid of him. Belichick thinks he can make Jim Garoppolo something. I think Jim Garoppolo is an okay quarterback. I think he's ever going to be really, 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 really good in this league. I think he's good. He went to a Super Bowl, right? Just like Jared Goff. He just told me Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl. So did Jim Garoppolo, right? But there's part of me, and a decent sized part of me, that thinks he's going to end up back in New England.
I think a lot of that is, where do the Patriots feel they are at right now? Is it where you felt you were when you got rid of Jim Garoppolo was a more talented roster and a better team? And yeah, I get it. Opt-outs, you can keep telling me about the opt-outs, but you know what that means is those players are also older, and it's a different looking roster than it was back then, versus, as well as you've touched on, what is it going to take to acquire that man's salary? There's a reason they punted at the quarterback position, not just option-wise, but because they didn't have anything to spend on quarterback this past year.
Yeah. When you say where do they think they are, in a lot better place than most of us think they are, right? I guarantee you they don't think they're as bad as they look this year. And the opt-outs are a big part of it. Injuries are part of it. And who they are is a big part of it. They've got a guy who's a wizard, and they figure that he's going to be able to put this thing back together with a wave of his magic wand, and maybe Jim Garoppolo. 505-246-0610. That's how to get to us. 888-922-0610. When we come back, we're going to get into the brackets a little bit, what the NCAA selection committee put out there and what it looks like. Hey, it's winter. I don't know if you stepped outside. Either you guys who drove downtown stepped outside. Boy, is it winter again, and it's not good to your vehicle. That cold air pulls the moisture right out of your paint. It makes the paint easier to chip, and then there's the sand and the salt and the dirt there for months, and that's not good for your paint either. The problem is you don't want to go outside in the cold and clean your vehicle, or maybe you just don't have time to do it. You don't need any of that. Got an idea for you. On-the-spot automotive detailing. Give them a call. You don't have to take the car to them. They will come to you wherever, whenever it's convenient for you. They come to the home, to the office. Maybe it's the same thing. They give it a thorough cleaning inside and out. Stains, spills, pet hair, all gone. When they are done, your vehicle is detailed. That means it's like the day you took it off the lot. Remember how fun it was to drive then? You're going to want to do it again. Those big car washes have hundreds of vehicles go through them every day, and unless they keep those brushes clean, they may scratch your paint, and they're usually done within 7 minutes. 7 minutes. How good can that be? Not as good as on-the-spot automotive detailing will do. They'll spend an hour or more and get the job done right. Call them. Here's the number, 505-897. Let me give that to you again, 505-859-2859. That's 505-859-2859. Or go to otsdetailing.com.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up off the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds, into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portell.
The outside, running an out route. Davis in the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. Back to tossing, he's gone all day. It's witness, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he
touchdown.
Could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win at his back, but.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide coaches award program, and providing multiple professional development.
Corrected once again, which is fine. I'm down with that. When I told you this was the first weekend without football since September, I guess that was just for me, and JJ, I guess for you too, huh? But Micah is telling me I'm wrong because there was fan-controlled football, and I said, tell me one thing besides Johnny Manziel about fan-controlled football. So where did you watch what the hell is fan-controlled football?
So I guess it's on Twitch, which is where like all the streamers go, the video gamers play. So I guess it was on there.
Okay.
But the best part of it was Marshawn Lynch on the commentary.
I'm sure it was. And again, if the best thing about it is the commentator, I'm not that bummed I missed it. Like unless I'll watch a game for Bill Walton, but usually the game's decent. You know. What else do you know, JJ? Fan controlled football. You gonna catch it next week on Twitch?
It caught me by surprise. We talked about this story back in December.
Okay.
I think it was
You
weren't here. It was one of the 2 weeks leading up to the New Mexico Bowl, and then the week after. And we were joking about it because everyone believes that they're better, coaching, general manager, etc. That's why we have this platform. That's why we talk about these things, and fans get so excited. And this is one where the fans essentially control the teams, calling plays, all that kind of stuff. And it was a funny joke at the time. But obviously, after the fact, terrible marketing because I had no idea this was going on this weekend.
I digress. The best part about fan-controlled football is instead of extra points, they do a one-on-one with the receiver in the corner. I thought that was really interesting.
So you know that it's good. Like what? We're throwing to that guy, cover him, and he
Yep. So essentially, you got the quarterback. You don't have a center. You just have a guy that gets like 7-on-7s.
Like
but you got a one-on-one for that extra point. So the guy gives the ball to the quarterback. He drops back, and you got to cover him. Or if he gets it, you get that extra point.
All right. I
Was
kind of
there
like
a
that.
time limit on it? Like, in the guy to just run around for 20 seconds in the end zone until he gets
Yeah, they don't rush the quarterback. I mean,
You're not selling me enough on this, Micah.
For
I
whom
don't know the
does Johnny-
details of it enough, but I'm just saying.
For whom does your boy Johnny Football play?
The Zappers.
The Zeppers?
Zappers.
Zappers.
There's like 4 teams, so.
All right.
It's like the Glacier Boys and the Zappers and the Wild Aces and the Beasts. I think that's like the 4 teams.
Of course they are. Of course they are. It sounds perfect. All right. Who won? Did you bet on it? I'll bet you can bet on it. I'll bet there's action on it.
Game changer.
I'm certain there would be. All right. Good for you. Good for all that. So there was football. So there will be football next weekend too? Do I get, is the XFL, or which one died? The AAF and then the XFL still alive? Like who bought, remember somebody bought the XFL. Who bought the XFL?
The Rock.
That's who it was, The Rock. So when does that start up?
There's FCS football.
Yeah, there's New Mexico State's playing in a week or two. Is that next weekend? New Mexico State plays Tarleton, right? All right, so there we go. That was my week. I think that's right. The 22nd, isn't that right?
2022 for the XFL.
So they're taking a year off. Okay. God bless them all. How many leagues have started in football? I mean, like, everybody is going to go after the NFL. Good luck to you. Going to get NCAA tournament. It sounds like we're within, well, it doesn't sound like it. We're within a month now of Selection Sunday. And the NCAA Selection Committee came out the other day. What are you showing me, dude?
If you go onto the fan-controlled football social media, you can click on and own part of one of the teams.
I'm good, man. I'm good. So like owning the Green Bay Packers or what? I own this.
Basically.
I'm an owner of the Zappers. Bench Johnny Football.
By the way, let's
put in Austin Apodaca.
Johnny Manziel was 1 of 5 for 11 yards.
Oh, that's a good stat line.
While rushing for 67 yards and a touchdown, as his Zappers lost 48-44 to the Beast. And Johnny Manziel said after the game, quote, "Feels like I'm super washed up, but still had a blast."
Hey, that's a lot of yards on a 50-yard football field. I mean,
11 is?
That
11
is
yards?
No, the 67 yards rushing.
Exactly what fan-controlled football wants to hear is that their marquee name, Johnny Football, Johnny
Realizes he's
Manziel,
washed
after
up.
playing a game, is like, even in this 7-on-7 50-yard league, man, I'm washed up. See you next Saturday.
What does Johnny Manziel do with his life now?
Golfs.
Flag football, essentially.
Did he get his degree from A&M? Can he go
No.
into? He didn't.
No, I don't believe so. No.
Can he go back and get his degree and like?
Do they want him back?
I don't know, man. At some point, I don't know.
I mean, he's not the ambassador you really want for your university.
Okay, but he can still go back and get his degree, right?
Yeah, he can go back anywhere. He's got the money.
I think he's got the money. Hopefully, he's got some left. Yeah, hopefully he's got some left. All right, we're going to get into a tournament. JJ, the brackets as of now revealed. Gonzaga's the 1 seed overall. Gonzaga, Baylor on the 1 line, along with Michigan and Ohio State. Illinois, Villanova, Alabama, Houston on the 2 line. Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, Oklahoma on the 3. Iowa, Texas Tech, Texas, and Missouri. Anything surprise you? I don't know if it matters if Gonzaga holds on to the overall 1 or Baylor gets it. It feels like momentum is leaning towards Baylor just because they're playing in their league, and their league is really good, and Gonzaga's beaten. Boy, Gonzaga put a pounding on San Francisco this weekend. I don't think it matters. I think those 2 teams feel like they're head and shoulders above everybody else right now.
In this year, it doesn't matter because you're not getting geographical preference. Yeah. You're all going
to Indy.
Indy. So it's nice. Like, yeah, we're the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. It doesn't matter. You're all playing in the same place. So that kind of takes out what we usually see in these situations, which a lot is traveling, where you're going to be region-wise in the first couple rounds. This, where you're going. It's one place. To me, I think the biggest story of the weekend was Michigan. After their pause, taking the court yesterday and beating Wisconsin, a game which they trailed late in the second half, and they finished fantastic after not playing basketball for, 2 weeks or so?
3 weeks.
In 3 weeks, in their pause, and the way finished. I think that was the biggest story for me, the college basketball weekend, because the bracket, the top 16, that's nice and all, but it has such a different feeling when we're talking about the 1 seeds, etc. Just when it comes to travel, because usually that's what it's about. If you're the number 1 overall seed, you get the geographical preference, this and that. Nope, you're just all going to Indy.
67-59, they beat Wisconsin. They were down 14 points in that game. They hadn't played for 3 weeks. Michigan's a really, really, really nice team, and what he's done there is terrific. He came in and said, "I'm going to recruit. I'm going to love my alma mater. I'm going to make us a winner." They can win this whole thing. They're really good. So is Ohio State. Houston, out of the American, is holding on to their 2 line. They lost a week ago to East Carolina. And those are those kind of games where you get in league play. I don't care if it's the Mountain West, the AAC, the Pac-12. You start playing league games, you lose. I mean, there's somebody who gets you, right, in a league matchup. And, whether it's the travel or whatever it is, I didn't think it was detrimental. I know it was the quad 3 loss or whatever it was. But I still, when my eyes tell me Houston's really good, and what Kelvin Sampson's put together there is really nice.
Yeah, Houston is still a good basketball team. This year it could be a little harsher than other years, ultimately, when it comes down to it, and maybe could lose a seed line in a game like that just because there's not as many games to bolster your resume. You didn't necessarily have a lot of chances in the non-conference, but it's one that it's tough. Like, you're right, the feeling is weird with college basketball. I kind of spent the weekend trying to reset myself overall. Like, dive back into the Mountain West, watching Boise State, UNLV, which is a really good series. Like, UNLV, when Bryce Hamilton gets going, they're a pesky basketball team. But ultimately, Boise State just coming at them in waves. That team just has too much along with.
Boise State could not afford to lose that.
Yeah, they needed
man.
that. They needed. Derek Alston had a really good game 2, and then they were able to close it out defensively. And then just kind of seeing the landscape of seeing Michigan get back on the court. I think what you're running down with the rest of the teams, I think Gonzaga has definitely established themselves. When Baylor finally gets back on the court, they've been a team that's been hit with a lot of pauses this season. So how are they going to manage finishing out the year? Because that is a fantastic basketball team.
Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. We haven't gotten to the NBA yet. Some big injuries, big name injuries. What does it mean? Well, it might not mean much in February, but if they linger, it could mean something as we go down. We'll get update you on UNM and New Mexico State, the women's team. Hopefully, JJ is the most underutilized play-by-play guy in America, by the way. The most underutilized play-by-play guy in all of America is JJ Buck. But we'll get into all of that. Keep them coming. I got emails at jeff@610knml.com. JJ at 610kml.com. You can watch the show on ProView Networks, and you're listening on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Played over to Madrid, plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District mashup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Nick Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did.
Oh
Oh my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in.
Ramos to Gaxiola. High window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house fly. Cardinals. to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski.
I don't know if there's a correlation. Many of you are telling me the guy Michael McDowell, who won the Daytona 500, you're calling him Michael McDonald, and then Daniel Berger won at Pebble Beach. See where I'm going there? Yeah. It's not an egg muffin. Daniel Berger wins at Pebble Beach. Eagle on 18. He made a mess of 18 on Saturday and took himself out of the final group. Hit his tee shot out of bounds, had to take the penalty, and felt like maybe he was letting things slip away, but he was solid. He made an eagle on 2 and then an eagle on 18 yesterday. Went at Pebble Beach. Jordan Spieth stumbled kind of in the middle of the round on the back of the front 9 and then early in the back 9. And Maverick McNeely, not Michael McDowell, but Maverick McNeely finished second in Pebble Beach. You watch any of the Pebble Beach?
Jordan Spieth in a good place. However, back-to-back 54-hole lead, and he didn't win either tournament.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. He did the same thing in, what was it in Phoenix? Where was it? Torrey Pines? Or was it in Phoenix?
Phoenix.
Yeah, it was the week prior in Phoenix. So you can look at it 2 different ways with Jordan Spieth because he had been kind of nowhere. He had 1 in 2 years, and so is this good for him that he's found himself in the last couple groups, that he's finding himself in the lead after 54 holes. Not being able to close is concerning, but you got to walk first, right? The fact that Jordan Spieth is on the first page of the leaderboard for the first time in a while, consistently, has got to be progress for him. At some point, he'll remember how to close. I do believe that. Did you see the shot he hit on 16 on Saturday where he jarred 2 for the fairway, but he hits this big right to left hook. 16, you hit over these big bunker, like a bunker complex in the middle of the fairway, and then you hit it over to the right, and he played this big right to left and rolled it in, and to give him the lead. And you're thinking, there's a little Jordan Spieth magic going. To me, you're right that he's been there 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to look at that as a positive for a guy who hadn't been there and hadn't won in 2 years.
I'm going to agree with that. Jordan Spieth had been in no man's land, as you said, the last 2 years, and the fact that he's competing in these tournaments, he has his name on the leaderboard. Because with Jordan Spieth, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about majors. Like, this is a dude we thought was going to be one of those guys in that next wave of stars in the game that was going to be there year in and year out. And now he's had his rough patches, and it feels like this year, though, Jordan Spieth is going to be back to a name that you put on your list. When we get back to major golf tournaments this year, the fields are so much deeper. The guys at the top are really good, and Jordan Spieth should be one of those names in that group.
Yeah, and this was a field that didn't have typically at Pebble Beach, you got all the big dogs, right? But this wasn't. No Xander Schauffele, no Dustin Johnson, there were a lot of names that weren't there. No Rory in this one. Did you watch? Did you watch it all yesterday?
I did.
Did you see Nate Lashley at 16 yesterday? He was leading going in, and he 4-stabbed it. He took 4. He was so pissed, slammed his putter down. This was a dude that was leading, went a little long, and then 4-jabbed it, and takes a triple bogey on 16 and took himself completely out of the tournament.
Yes, that was very frustrating for Lashley, not just losing the tournament, but then dropping down the leaderboard late, because that is points and money lost.
It was expensive. If he would have finished second, he wins $850,000. To finish tied for fifth, he wins $301,000. So that was about a $550,000 hole. So for a guy like Nate Lashley, who was selling real estate back in Ohio a few years back, to put himself in a position at Pebble Beach to make a big paycheck and make a big statement. And he was winning the golf tournament. But it made you feel like you and me, didn't it? When you go out there and 4-stab it and miss those little 3-foot tap-ins that your buddies are giving you, and they're like, no, and these guys are running at 4 or 5 feet past the hole. Makes you realize, hey, I can do that. See, I can do what those guys. Damn right I can. I can do what those guys are doing. I've done it. Exactly right. Exactly right. All right, I owe you an update on Lobo basketball, men's and women's, and we're going to do that when we get back. 505-246-0610. I got a bunch of emails coming in. Jeff at 610knml.com and JJ at 610knml.com. And, of course, find us on the Twitter. It's _JJ Buck. And on the Facebook, the OD in the AM. Hey, who is watching your home? And I hope it's the good guys and not the bad guys. That's why you can call Aaron Jones International Protective Service. I've trusted IPS for years to watch my home. They're there every day. They're there every day. They come by the house. When you go out of town, you get a trip coming up, and hopefully that's going to start happening a little bit more. They will look after your home. They do exterior checks every day. They'll pick up the newspaper, pick up the mail, roll the garbage cans to the curb and back on garbage day. Your home gets that lived-in look, and they're local. And I know many of you have trusted your home and your business security to a local company. Armed response and everything, and then they sold out. You've been selected, and now your security's on the brink of being bought by a national corporate giant, and that's not what you signed up for. IPS is not for sale. They're invested in this community. They care about your home and your business security like it's their own. Let the highly trained armed guards or 24-hour patrols of IPS protect what is yours. Don't wait until something bad happens. Call IPS. 505-897-2420 is the number. That's 505-897-2420. Or go to ipsglobal.com.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Las Cruces. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transitions, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the...
Behind the back of the dribble. Trying to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away.
Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh.
Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella. Might try to jam one home.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia.
15 Minutes in the Sun a few years ago is the next supposed heir to the Big Cat. We'll never hear from him again. That's from Rod. That's not right. I think he'll win again. I think he'll win major again. He's just not going to dominate the game. He went on an unbelievable tear when he jumped on the scene. Rory went on a tear for a while. DJ's been on a tear. Brooks Koepka went on a tear. There's no heir apparent to Tiger Woods. Let's just get over that. I think most of us have. To say we'll never hear from Jordan Spieth again, JJ, I think is probably a little misguided. Don't you believe it?
Yes, especially given the fact that he has led past 2 tournaments after 3 rounds the last 2 weekends, and I believe he's set up for a very nice year, which includes competing for majors. But if your standard is next best thing, then we know that that's not who Jordan Spieth is. He's just another one of the guys in a deep field that's competing for the headlines right now.
Is Daniel Berger in that field now? Because I think he is.
He has to be. The dude is always dropping low numbers. Now that's someone... Sure, the odds got to be pretty good if you want to put some futures on a major this year.
I think that's right. You know, everybody's thinking Xander Schauffele's the next guy, and he's leading the FedEx Cup standings right now. And he's close, and he's close, and he's close. And at some point, Xander's going to break through, too. But, I mean, you look at Xander Schauffele, Daniel Berger, Matthew Wolff, some of these guys right in that next rung. Because I think the young guns were the Spieths, the Fowlers, even Rory, and they're kind of veterans now, right? That group of young guns that was coming up, Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, those guys aren't young. The young guys, there's a new group behind them now of really, really good golfers, like Colin Morikawa and Berger and Wolff, right? And you look at the field each week, man. There's guys, Maverick McNeely, making a move this week. It's unbelievable how deep it is. I've said this for a number of years now. The difference between now and when Tiger was doing it, and even more so, I think when Jack was great. is the depth. It is how deep these great golfers are. Jack had Crenshaw and Trevino and Watson and guys that he competed against, and there were a number of guys that were at the top. I think today's golfer has got the deepest field, the deepest challenges at any point in the history of that game.
There's no doubt about it. The depth of talent is better than I've ever seen it in the PGA Tour, and even the top shelf. To your point, there's been greatest of all time players, whether it's you want to say Jack, Tiger Woods down the line, but the elite level of guys, whether who do you want to put up there? Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, etc. Like that. Its shelf, I think, is also deeper than it's ever been.
That shelf right now is probably 5 to 8 deep, right? I mean, you would say Koepka, Johnson, Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy. I probably Xander up there, although he hasn't won yet. I don't know if I think Ricky Fowler's there anymore, but yeah, there's a number of those guys you just go, damn, right? I mean, the top is terrific. All right, 505-246-0610 if you want to get in, 888-922-0610. Global basketball, we believe on Wednesday against Wyoming at Air Force. Paul Weir's set to speak today. Aggies got beat on Friday in Seattle and then came back and beat the Red Hawks 65-58. So New Mexico State splits their 2-game WAC series up in Seattle. They'll return to El Paso to take on Utah Valley on Friday and Saturday of this week. Jabari Rice had 19 and 6 for the Aggies on Saturday night in their victory. And then the UNM women are still in quarantine, expected to go, JT, what is it, Wednesday? Against Wyoming up in Laramie. And they're still up in Colorado now with no COVID positives over the weekend.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the timetable looks like in terms of their return to play. And it's different. They had a player test positive, reports where the player was asymptomatic. Second round of testing on Saturday, no other positive cases on the team, so that's a good start. Now it's just about timing and when we're able to travel and what that schedule this week is going to look like. And then for the Lobo men, well, if you follow them in social media, you could pick apart a little bit of what was going on. They were practicing over the weekend, so they are playing a basketball game this week, bearing any setbacks related to testing. And you could pick apart, there are 8 players pictured. I'm sure there were probably a couple more on the court that just didn't make the pictures, but we know for sure on the practice court this past weekend it was Javante Johnson, Kurt Wegscheider, Manuel Quach Malawach, Saquon Singleton, Rob Brown, Isaiah Marin, and Jordan Arroyo for sure.
Yeah, and one thing you didn't mention is any of the bigs, but that doesn't mean they're not there. And again, those are the pictures they put out, but you didn't.
This is what we're doing right now until we get a chance to talk to Paul later today.
Yeah, I just and was that 1 o'clock, 1:30 today? Jan's at 11:30, and then we're at 1 o'clock today. And so we'll get an idea. What do you expect from Paul? Is it going to be more positive? Because the last time he spoke, it really felt like I don't know, man. I don't want to sit there and say a defeated coach, but it felt like just uncertainty of where we're going. Right? We're not canceling the season. We're taking the week off. And since then, they've had the Colorado State series canceled. Do you expect a more positive Paul? Like we're ready to go, we're refreshed, we're ready to go and get after it and get better and finish this thing out strong. And the guys are they've had a break and they feel better about themselves and we're just ready to go play now. Or
I think it's going to be as positive as you can be in this situation. They were ready to play basketball. They were on the court getting ready to play a basketball game last week. Whether or not they're going to be any good on the court was to be seen, but they were back together, they were working, and it came down on them within the final hour. So I think it's going to be that just same attitude, back to it, been practicing, looking forward to playing a game.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about that coming up at the final hour of the program. We'll get into the hoops going around college basketball as we really kind of wind down towards it now. I mean, you got 2-3 weeks left in the regular season, then you'll get your conference tournaments and you'll head into the madness, and everything will be in Indianapolis, and it's going to be different. It's either that or you get fan-controlled football. So I mean, it's
1 minute.
Whatever it is you dig. I got a few more NFL tidbits I want to hit on. We got to get into the NBA. And a couple of injuries. Big name injuries. How about your Nuggets last night?
Bounce
Nice
back
win.
game, but one of those injuries factored in.
Oh, that's
for the
right.
Lakers.
That's right. But it's a nice win. 505-246-0610. Love to hear from you on this President's Day. We're working. Are you? Even if you're not, you can still get in. Send emails, Jeff or JJ at 610knml.com. Watch the show, ProView Networks. J. Pole and Josh are putting that on the air for you after their big, hearty breakfast this morning. Micah made the run all the way downtown. He's producing on the radio side. It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Coming in soon, double pick set for Avalos, goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high, window, scores it as foul. Right here by Lewis, all the way, coast to coast, and finish. What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Has to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up. Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domino Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Luscious. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Again, the usual morning lineup. 7 in the morning.
7 o'clock in the morning. 7 a.m. Where have you been? 7 a.m. Where is your brother?
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is The Opening Drive with two-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and J.J. Buck.
Well, it's 9 a.m. Where have you been? Welcome to our day. Welcome to your President's Day. LeBron is a flopper. That's right. He's a flopper. The NBA came down on him and Kyle Kuzma and said, don't flop anymore. They look at the video. They got people who do that. They look at the video and say, man, when you went down, you weren't even touched. LeBron is a flopper. See, I told you. He's not that damn good. See, he's out there and just getting caught. I'm kidding.
He should have to give back that NBA Finals trophy from last season. Flopping is bad. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it.
So there's a college basketball's instituted a rule now, right? There's a new hand signal, flopping, the arms go out. The first time's a warning, the next time, I believe it's a technical foul. LeBron and Kuzma got warned for this. Flopping has been part of the game for, I don't know, forever, trying to draw a foul. I appreciate that they're trying to clean it up. It feels like it's almost impossible, but he was warned by the NBA for violating the flopping rule. I haven't heard anything from him. Did he comment on it? Because if he did, I didn't hear anything.
No, there are definitely very obvious ones that you can see and will get called out and get you that nice little warning letter and or called on the court. And exaggeration, a little part of the game.
Yep. They're getting called out on that. All right, the Lakers' other big star left yesterday's loss. The Nuggets beat the Lakers last night, 122-105, and Anthony Davis left the court grabbing his Achilles again. He had missed a few games because of tendonitis in his Achilles, or at least that's what they're calling it. There was some swelling, and he's going to miss a few more games, evidently. This could be fairly significant, don't you think, if this continues to linger? Achilles, look, of all the injuries, people say I'd rather hurt my knee than my Achilles because it feels like the rehab is quicker, less painful. But Achilles is a big deal, and if this continues to be, I think it's a significant injury to watch.
It shouldn't be one. Shut him down. Anthony Davis does not need to be playing right now. Stop this mess. Rest your star player. You know who's playing and playing fine? LeBron James, night in and night out, at 36 years old. But Anthony Davis, shut him down. You tried the 2 games, brought him back. Nope. This is 2 weeks. Shut him down right now. It's not what it's about. Even if you go into the playoffs as a 4 seed or 3 seed, you'll be fine. Shut him down now. Get him right so you can make a run.
I think that probably is right. Even if it's 3 weeks, a month, you're going to be fine. They lost to the Nuggets last night. Big win, by the way, for your Nuggets.
It was just nice to see Jamal Murray show up for the first time all season. Nice to see you, Jamal. You left your game back in the Orlando bubble. But this has been one where Jokic night in and night out is putting up ridiculous numbers, one of the best players in the NBA, and he's looking around going, does anyone else want to join me? Is there anyone else on this roster that wants to step up and play some basketball? And it has to be Jamal Murray, but he's been so inconsistent. Unbelievable. Scores 26 last night, has a solid game, and you're like, oh, yeah, you can be a pretty good team when you show up to play, Jamal.
Showed up last night. All right, Kevin Durant, who was out for, 4 games with the COVID issue, now probably going to miss at least 2, hamstring strain. They will be, I got to believe, ultra careful with Kevin Durant. This is the guy who missed all last season with what? An Achilles. Now with a hamstring strain. I got to look, hamstrings linger. If you've ever popped a hamstring, pulled a hamstring, they linger. The only thing that takes care of that is rest. It is. No matter what you do, you move your hamstring. You feel it. So KD now on the shelf for 2. That's a team that's going to be, what do you think? They go into the playoffs probably about anywhere between a 3 and a 6 seed. And again, to your point, I don't think it matters.
No, they're one that they need to figure out their rotation. All the talk is about defense, understandably so. But if they can just get to being like an average defensive team, their offense is so overwhelming that they'll be fine in those situations. I think it was, I want to say 2016, one of the Cavs teams that won their NBA title, forget what year it was exactly, like they were 11th in defense, but really the goal has been top 10. Like the teams that are winning NBA championships have been top 10 in defense for the last like decade or so. And I don't think this is going to be a top 10 defensive team in Brooklyn, but if you can just be an average team, give good effort defensively, they're going to be a problem when they're healthy, because offensively it works. I think the big step forward is Kyrie Irving, whether Steve Nash told him to or not, has said, all right, James Harden is our point guard. I'm going to be playing off ball, and this is how we're going to look. And you know what? It does look pretty good when they're playing. Kyrie can play off the basketball. He's a good shooter. And when you stagger those minutes throughout the game and then you have those guys on the floor in crunch time, yeah, it should be the best offense in the league.
Yep. Yeah, and then they outscore people, right? And you figure if one of them's off, two of the three of them are on. If two of them are off, still one of them's on, and it's more than most have, and the intent will be we'll just outscore you, and I think that's going to be okay. I do. So that's your NBA stuff. Were you entertained on Saturday night with the Warriors getting prime time again? Boy, I mean, Steph's fun to watch. He is.
Steph has been playing unbelievable basketball this season, and that's just the unfortunate thing. Like, this team was primed to be back in a fantastic position if it wasn't for Klay Thompson's injury, like right before the season. And that happened like a day after the draft or something along those lines. Like during that time, Klay Thompson gets hurt, because Steph has been unbelievable. And I think Steph is, you talk about players with something to prove, that is Steph Curry. Unfortunately, they're a 500 basketball team right now, but Steph Curry is Aaron Rodgers right now. Like, everyone is like, all right, you can shoot, but are you that dude? Like, you don't have really anyone around you. How good are you going to be? And he's out there being that dude right now.
Warriors holding on to the last playoff spot. They're a half game better than the Grizzlies, a game and a half better than both Sacramento and Dallas right now, and a game and a half behind Denver. It's early, I understand, and we're not even at the All-Star break, but that's where they are. I always struggle comparing Steph to just because of stature, right? When we talk about the all-time greats, or at least the era greats in the game, like, I put him there because I've never seen a better shooter. But in today's game, when was the last time you saw a guard? Was it Iverson? And I don't even know, I would tell you I think Steph's better than Iverson. When was the last time you saw a guy of his stature control an NBA game on a regular basis?
I think Iverson.
Right.
Like, to a team that you feel can, like, win. And even right now, that's, as you said, they're right there on the edge, borderline playoff team. And they're going to be a playoff team now that 10 teams make the postseason. So.
Well, I almost hold Steph to a different standard just because of stature. KD's 7 feet tall, right? LeBron is 6'9", 260 pounds. Steph is what, 6'2", $180? How does a guy like that physically control a game? And I'm going back in history, and certainly in modern history, the game is guys have gotten to be as statuesque as they have. I can't. So I do hold them to a different standard.
And I'm trying to think in recent. No, I think you factor in it. The Shaq is going to be compared differently than Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant, etc. Yeah, the way they play, their size, their physicality, their athleticism impacts the style of game that you're going to see on the court. And I'm thinking in the last decade, there's plenty of good guards, like guys that get you buckets. Like, that the league is full of those dudes. But to do it at that level, my recent memory, it's just really Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, and kind of Steph Curry.
Yeah. And so that's why when people want to compare him to LeBron, to Kevin Durant, to me it's just not. It's not the same thing. It's like comparing a pitcher to a left fielder. You know, how did the pitcher dominate the game as compared to a left fielder? It's completely different human beings, different basketball players, different styles, and certainly different physical attributes. A dude at 7 feet, like Durant's unbelievable. What he can do, the way he can handle the ball and shoot at 7 feet and go inside, outside, like that's special. LeBron just physically, brute strength compared with the skill that he's developed, the touch, the outside game. Like there's no way, no matter how good Steph Curry could be, there's no way he could take the ball inside. He's 6'2", 6'1"? He can't play the post game.
He's deceptive because he's
he gets to the rim.
Yeah. And I think this year is big for Steph Curry's legacy because we're all about that legacy talk and where we rank you greatest of all time, because that's the only way you can talk about players. It feels like these days. Because I think if he gets this team to the playoffs, like let's say out of the play-in tournament, like this is a legit 7th or 8th seed basketball team. This is going to be one of his better years because he can show you that even at his size, you know, he can be a guy that wins games pretty much by himself at the NBA level. Because when you look at who's around him, like his number 2, Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre, like these dudes should be like 3-4, like back end options on a team. So what Steph Curry is doing, dropping 40 points the other night, still shooting ridiculous percentages. When you know teams are double teaming Steph Curry this season. They're legitimately trapping him in the NBA, and you don't really ever see that. And for him to still be going off and have this team in a good position, I think he's going to be really huge overall just when we start looking at Steph Curry, because he's already been a unanimous MVP. He's already won NBA titles. But the one thing in this conversation, to your point, Jeff, is trying to compare him with the best in the game. And this is one of those moments, because we've seen LeBron at times do it with the depleted Cavs team, find a way. Steph's doing it with the depleted Warriors roster and being successful.
It's interesting because I haven't really thought about it that way. Maybe I should. His legacy is never going to be greatest of all time. Like he's not going to be in that conversation with Kobe, Mike, LeBron. He's not. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen. I think he will be considered by many the greatest shooter of all time. He will be a Hall of Famer. I believe probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a multiple time champion, multiple time MVP. But I don't think just because of physical, I don't think he's ever going to be considered one of the greatest in the GOAT conversation. He'll be top 50 NBA guy. He'll be top 20 in some conversations. He's an unbelievable player. He's an unbelievable player. But I mean, do you think we're going to be having that? Well, Kobe or Mike or LeBron or Steph?
No, he's never going to be in the greatest of all time conversation. I think what he has done is, and I'm in a mindset of thinking about NBA basketball players, I have Steph Curry above Steve Nash. Like I have Steph Curry I think he's going to surpass Allen Iverson.
I already have him above Allen Iverson.
Because of championships, that's possibly, but no, Allen Iverson was the last guy at that size that did it to this level. Like when he got that Philadelphia 76ers team to the NBA Finals, like that was tremendous. So he's, to me, like he's right there in that echelon. Like there's AI, there's Steph Curry, and then there's a bunch of other guards who are really good, but not at that level.
Yeah, I've got Curry above Iverson, not just because of championships, but partially because of that, but because of his game, what his game has become. I've never seen anybody shoot like this guy. And by the way, he gets to the rim way more often than he gets credit for. And he's a pretty good passer. No, I've got him there. All right, 505-246-0610. That's how to get in today on this President's Day. Emails, and I'll get you some of those. Jeff at 610knml.com. JJ at 610knml.com. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes a.
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the.
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a. Hill, little step, high window. With a...
Got the second.
To the middle.
Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup.
Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
And then there's Pac-Man. Mike, I just sent this over. I guess you sent it over a little while ago. Pac-Man Jones arrested. Charged with 1 count of misdemeanor assault, according to TMZ Sports. Court documents say that he punched and kicked a person in the head until the person was unconscious. Be in court today in Ohio. The more things change, well, yeah. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J-Pull, Josh. 505-246-0610. We're going to go to the phones in a second. Hondo wants to know, whatever happened to global warming? Global warming doesn't mean it's never going to get cold again. I think you need to understand.
It's a very deceptive term, global warming.
I think you need to understand climate change. That the warming of the globe is changing, according to the theory, the weather patterns. He said it's a good thing we're less than 2 weeks until March. Can you imagine if this bleep had hit in December? It'd be minus 20. JJ would be doing the show from in front of his fireplace. That's not a bad idea.
Sounds good. If I had a fireplace.
Yeah, get the fireplace going. Yeah. All right. 5 degrees in Dallas, Ryan said. He's listening in Dallas this morning. Good to hear from you, Ryan. Ralph has been texting. We're in 3 time zones. Ralph's listening in San Diego. Ryan in Dallas. Grady's is probably in Pecos. I'm going to guess there's some snow up in the village. Good morning, Grady. How you doing?
Flop detectors of the OD
Damn
and
right.
AM. Yeah, you know, there's a little bit of snow on the ground, and I tell you what, we're twice as warm as Dallas, so I can't complain.
That's something.
I don't know if I would ever say that sentence again, but you know, I'm
Up in
not
Pecos.
complaining.
Yeah.
So I sent an email earlier, but I definitely, when you started talking about Steph Curry and wanted to jump in, and I had, in the group chat a while back, but listen, Steph Curry, as crazy as it sounds, I think he's underrated because
I agree with you.
He puts so much pressure on a defense. So if all he has to do is make 1 3, and then he will change a team's defensive scheme. It's like, this kid, he's getting hot. And then, as you said, Jeff, he gets to the rack. He gets to the rack, and that is something that, again, is underrated. He can take over a game. He can steal games, literally, and it's incredible. Plus, he gets these steals. He's a better defender. So you talk about, he is one of the few players that can change a way a team plays defense and therefore opens up other players on his team and opens up other aspects of his game. You stretch out to him, he'll get to the rack. You start getting to the rack, you slag off, he hits threes. If you double him, he's an elite level passer. So, I think he's, maybe not head and shoulders, but he's above Allen Iverson. He's a better shooter than Allen Iverson was, and he's a better defender. He's a better shooter than Joe Dumars. Now, Joe Dumars was a better defender, but Steph Curry is a much better shooter than Joe Dumars. I compare him to Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry, I think that's a legit.
He's a better shooter than Isaiah Thomas. Joe Dumars was an elite defender, but Steph is a better shooter than Isaiah was.
Yeah, and just like Isaiah, he's not quite the defender Isaiah Thomas was, but again, like you said, he's a better shooter, and you talk about someone that doesn't dunk. See, that's just it. Because he doesn't dunk, and see, Isaiah Thomas didn't dunk, they don't really quite get that, that respect.
Dominant.
I think he's, a top 10 guard that I've ever seen play. Now, again, I didn't see back in the old days, but I can't think of 6 or 7 guards that are better than him all time.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I don't even know where you would start, right? You would start at Magic, right?
Right, and again, Magic's probably the best guard at that size, that skill that I've seen play. Right. And then where do you go?
Would you consider Mike's a forward, LeBron's a forward? I agree with you. Look, he's a better shooter than anybody. Like when you start saying he's a better shooter than this guy, like he's a better shooter than anybody I've ever seen.
Right.
He does get to the rim. I think he's a top 10 guard. I'm just trying to go through this generation, and I can't. JJ, you got a better guard?
No, like it's the last 20 years or so. To me, it's him and AI that have kind of established themselves as straight true guards above everyone else.
Is Kobe a guard? Kobe's a guard, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so I would put Kobe above him. I would put Kobe above Steph Curry. I for sure would. And I'm kind of trying to spin through the list too of elite level All-Star Hall of Fame guards. And again, his defense, his getting to the rim, his ability to change a game, his ability to change a defense.
James Harden?
I'm struggling.
What about Harden?
I think with all that, Harden.
I think he's a better shooter. And look, Harden, I think he's a better. I don't know, JJ. All around, would you tell me? Because I think I would take Steph before Harden.
I would.
I think the Steph Curry's three-point shooting elevates him there. James Harden is better at going to the basket. And this is one where that's kind of hard to separate with the championships in the mind. Because James Harden, to your point, that's a great one right now. Because his overall game is absolutely just as close. But,
All right, no, that's good, man. That's good.
All right, as always, appreciate the time, gentlemen.
See you. Thanks, Grady. That's good conversation. I got an email on Steph. It says, "Come on now, he's 6'3", not a little guard. So if he's listed at 6'3", how tall do you think he is?"
Paul on the line.
Just asking. But yeah,
the definition of guard has changed so much.
I know.
Well, I think if we're talking about guys in that vein, with the like a Steve Nash, Allen Iverson, Steph Curry. Sometimes we don't necessarily assume James Harden, but he's that guy. You know, he's a ball-dominant guard that's now the point guard of the Brooklyn Nets. But then, like, how do you factor in, say, a Luka Doncic in this conversation?
No, that's coming. I mean, that's evolving. How Luka's like 6'10", right?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Big guard, though. Paul, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. What's good, Paul?
Well, you know, I heard, I just got in the car and I heard point guard talk, and that's like one of my favorites. Is I'm a diehard Magic Johnson fan to the point where he signed my arm and I got it tattooed on. That's how much I love Magic Johnson. But as far as true point guards go, I don't understand why people never bring up John Stockton and as far as like the newer generation, Jason Kidd as well. But going back to Stockton, if you look at his stats and you look at his body of work, he's neck and neck with Isaiah. And if you listen to interviews with former pros, they all tell you there's no more of a true point guard that's ever played this game than John Stockton. Defensively, offensively, there's just passing ability, everything, just a complete point guard. But Jason Kidd wasn't the greatest shooter in the world, but you look at his ability to defend and to rebound and his passing ability, he's another guy that never gets any run. But those two guys were absolutely phenomenal, if you ask me.
That's really good. Paul, thank you. So I guess
thank you.
You're slicing it down another layer, just taking guard to point guard. And I don't know that I consider Steph necessarily guard as a point guard is more a shooting guard, but he's a shooting point guard. And we were just saying guard. Look, if you ask me who the best guard I ever saw is, the best one I've ever seen is Magic. Okay. But after that, I'm struggling finding somebody that outward, like, do I think Stockton was better overall than Steph? The fact that Steph is the best shooter I've ever seen in my life kind of elevates him. When you say he's the best, like you're telling me three aspects, right? Or four aspects: shooting, passing, defense, and getting to the rim. And this guy is the best that I've ever seen at one of those, which really kind of elevates him above some of these guys. In my mind, Steph's as good a guard. I mean, JJ, he changes games. The fact that his range came out to the logo changes games, changes defense.
It does, and this is one of the championships you factor in. You know, he won NBA titles without Kevin Durant. He was the focal point of that Warriors team. His shooting ability. I think the two guards that really have changed it over the last 10 years in the game, it's Dame Lillard and Steph Curry. Now everyone's shooting, but those guys, you know, you got to pick them up at half court type of play. And Steph Curry is a point guard. He's a point guard that shoots fantastic, but that offense initiates with him. I know Draymond does a lot of work in the ball movement, but it's Steph Curry. And yeah, it's kind of, we've been discussing more modern era, but there's no doubt. I think Jason Kidd slides in.
Absolutely.
As a true point guard. You look at what he did, especially in the early 2000s. And that's the thing, is some of these guys, we think of them as scoring guards. Other guys are true point guards. Because I think of John Stockton and Jason Kidd differently than I do Allen Iverson and Steph Curry. So.
Grady says, I would think about Stockton and Kidd. I'd take Steph over both of them. I think I would too. 505-246-0610. Keep them coming. Emails, Jeff or JJ at 610knml.com. Gentlemen, how you feeling? Coming off of Valentine's Day. It's chilly. Hopefully you're feeling well. But if you're not, maybe you're dealing with fatigue, feeling sluggish, have low energy or erectile dysfunction. You can take care of all that. You can call New Mail and you can feel like you again. New Mail is a leader in men's health. They're here in Albuquerque. They've helped thousands of men all over the country feel better. What's more important than your health, especially in these times? And I tell you nothing. Taking care of you, feeling well is a priority, and New Mail makes it possible. Call them at 505-652-1688 or visit newmail.com. That's NUMALE.com. This whole process is comfortable. The results are absolutely real. From the phone call to your first visit all the way through the treatment, New Mail will be with you. They'll help you take care of low energy, even hair loss or erectile dysfunction. Their testosterone replacement utilizes cutting-edge technology. They're out front when it comes to men's health. Call them at 505-652-1688. Guys, take care of yourself. Make the call. Visit newmail.com or call 505-652-1688 and feel better.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That
replay to
I
just
got
get
you.
the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up, man's wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Stop the flop sanity. Fellow workers on President's Day of the OD and the AM, may I suggest fining the refs for every time they make a call in the flopper's favor and or a BS phantom call. Now, I'm not a flopologist, but I'd be willing to bet the vast majority of those calls would go away if they started to cost the refs money. Working comfortably in the chilly village, Grady, in Santa Fe de Pecos. That would be such a hard one, man. Bang, bang plays. It's when we sit there and watch them in slow-mo and watch guys go down without contact, and then you can detect a flop. It's one thing. You're bang, bang on the court. It's like we've talked for years how hard it is to officiate an NBA game or an NFL game. You want to start finding the refs for calling fouls on flops?
Well, that's what the whole situation is set up for now, is to be able to look at things and give warnings and give fines, stuff. There's things that are blatantly obvious and others that aren't quite as obvious in real time.
Okay. Talking about great guards of this generation, where does Steph Curry sit amongst those? We've heard Jason Kidd, John Stockton, Robert Portnoy says, what about KJ, Kevin Johnson with the Phoenix Suns? It's a good one, right? There's been, do you put Gary Payton in that mix? I don't. I think, Gary Payton was really good. Defensively, you'd have to put him almost above, I tell you, almost all those guys, right?
Yeah. Your nickname is the glove. I think you come in as probably the best defender.
So of all of the ones that we've brought on the table, I would go Magic 1, Kobe 2, Steph 3. And maybe Kobe 1, Magic 2, Steph 3.
To me, that's a different conversation. Because Kobe's a guard. Kobe's not a point guard.
No, I know. I thought we were just going guards, not point guards.
Yeah.
I thought we were going guards. Yeah, no, Kobe's not a point guard. I mean, if we're going just point guard, I guess we're having another.
Well, if we say that, is LeBron fact? Is LeBron?
Yeah,
working
LeBron's
that
not a guard.
conversation?
When you're 6'9", 260, you're just not a guard to me. I mean, I understand what your game looks like, but no, at that point, no, you're not a guard. I don't care what the lineup card says. No, at 6'9", 260, you're at least a small forward, if not a power forward. But you know, the Laker fans have this conversation: Kobe or Magic. I kind of lean Kobe, even though Magic was in my day. But I think Magic, Kobe, Magic, and then Steph. I mean, are you putting Stockton, Kidd, Kevin Johnson, Iverson? Anybody? I mean, I think that's where Steph has gotten to at this point. I can't tell you that I think that there's been a better guard in the last 40 years outside of Magic and Kobe. Tell me what I'm missing. I mean, Larry Bird wasn't a guard.
Yeah, and I find it tough. I think that there's a bit more of a distinction between Kobe Bryant and Steph Curry.
What was Mike? What was Michael Jordan? Was he a guard?
I think Kobe and Mike is a fair comparison. Even though they're ball dominant, like I just have a different feeling about their games. Like I think, yeah, you get there.
Physical
also,
though, right?
Like Steph creates more for other people than those guys did.
So we're thinking, like, everybody we compared him to outside of Mike, Magic, and Kobe are somewhat of his stature, right? You're thinking smaller guards: Kidd, Stockton, KJ, all those guys. Iverson, right? They're 6'3" and under, 6'2" and under, right? We're thinking more of that stature, but and that's fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. That's not where I thought we were going today, by the way, but it's good. I'm just going to tell you, when a guy, to me, puts himself in the category of best shooter I've ever seen, and he is. And I guess Nash has to go, when we're having that conversation, Nash has to be in that if you're going to tell me Stockton and KJ and those guys. But what I watch from this guy, and yes, your point's right, championships have to matter. And he did win before Kevin Durant. Where would when you're talking just pure shooters, is Klay in the conversation now?
Klay Thompson absolutely is in the conversation. You look at his numbers and the way he shoots. Steph Curry, Reggie Miller, the guys atop the list.
Reggie Miller, well, yeah, some just great snipers in our day. All right, 505-246-0610. 888-922-0610. You can send emails, and I'll get those out. Jeff at 610knml.com. John says on Daytona yesterday, the last corner of the last lap was a spectacular multi-car fiery wreck involving the leaders of the race. Find it, YouTube. Pretty cool. Yeah, we talked about it. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Michael McDowell wins the race. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski were 1-2. They are teammates. They took each other out, spun each other, and stuff lit up like the 4th of July.
What a day. You tune in Daytona 500. 12 hours later, you see them take the checkered flag. Just a unbelievable day full of crashes, weather delays. Joey Logano was way too calm for me after that. He's like, well, I'm happy for Michael. You know, he's a good guy. That dude ran you and your teammate off the track. He's the one that started it. He had that run into the back of the second place car, right in the back of Joey Logano. Boom! You guys are off in balls of fire, and he's just rubbing his racing right to the finish line.
Rubbing his racing, boys. Rubbing his racing. And he won by like just a speckle because he was out in front. And like the video goes, you got to go to video. Okay, when the yellow went out, when did the yellow go out? Boom. Who was out in front? And that's the guy who wins. Crazy end. Crazy end. Michael, who was there yesterday? Because we aired the Daytona 500 here on The Sports Animal. I know it was supposed to be early in the day. That thing ended, what, at 10:30 at night-ish? 10 o'clock at night? So somebody had it wasn't you, Les. Is that why you're so tired today?
No, it wasn't me.
All right, it wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
So it doesn't matter. So it just doesn't
Amen.
matter. Yeah, right? Somebody did. All right, well, glad. I hope you enjoyed it and got to hear it. All right, when we come back, we'll wrap you up. We still got some time to get some phone calls or emails in. Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com, and of course, you can find us on the Twitter. JJ's there at JJ at 610knml.com. Send us your thoughts. We'll get in. But where do you put Steph? Like all-time greats, right? I mean, he's got to be there, doesn't he? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on aim. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Danion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Toss with Evans. Evans has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Forward dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris. Legate. The long bomb. 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A little jump step in the.
And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. And sister to sister, Marianne Lansing is going to go.
College football breaking news this morning. University of Central Florida, UCF, have a new football coach. Gus Malzahn, who was fired recently at Auburn, is the new head coach at UCF. Malzahn did a nice job there. You could just never do enough if you don't beat Nick Saban. They were 6-4 this season, but he had a nice run at Auburn. Malzahn worked for the new athletic director, Terry Moagier, at Arkansas State back in the day, and so there was a familiarity there, and I think that's a really nice get for UCF, don't you?
I do. It's one where you have a coach that's coached and won at a high level. We bring in good stability, working with the AD, so there's that good relationship right off the bat. UCF trying to play that football card, to keep building that brand, which is pretty good, winning at a high level, and it's one to watch. The AAC football-wise, feeling pretty good about themselves. Got some work to do on the basketball court outside of Houston right now, but I think if you're UCF and all the changes you had from your AD and your head coach bouncing, that's pretty good to replace it.
I think they did really well. And a guy who's going to know that footprint, know that recruiting area, know Florida, and now try to keep guys at home in Florida who's already been in there because he was in the SEC and has gotten guys to the National Football League. So I think that's a really, really good get for them. The other news this morning was the arrest of Pac-Man Jones. I just
really
I don't even
do we care, honestly?
Just because
when was the last time Adam Jones was in an NFL game?
Because he was a cowboy, and because it's repetitious, to your point. But then you read that he beat and kicked a guy till he was unconscious.
That's terribly bad. That Adam Jones is not a good person. Yes, but the headline story, breaking news: Adam Jones. It's not a good dude.
All
Not
right.
surprising.
We didn't get into this with baseball and spring training opening here in 10 degrees. Justin Turner decided, I think it was yesterday, he's going to stay with the Dodgers. What did he get? $17 million, a 2-year deal, 2 years, $34 million. It's a pretty good little late career deal, right? Here's 34 for 2 to stay.
Oh,
stay
we just
where you
signed
wanna
Trevor
be anyway.
Bauer. We got Mookie Betts. We got all these other guys. Oh, and here's $34 million still for Justin Turner.
Pretty unbelievable, isn't it? And your team pays $50 million to send your best player.
I'm
somewhere
jealous.
else. You should be.
San Diego,
No.
the Dodgers. It's going to be so much fun to watch. But I'm going to hate watching the NL West if the other teams are just going to get destroyed week in and week out having to play those guys.
It's the rich get richer. There's no doubt. And going in, there's no doubt who the preseason favorite is, right? It's the defending champion Dodgers. Doesn't mean they'll win, but their pitching staff is stupid. Assuming they're healthy, and you go into a postseason series and pick your order. Kershaw may be 3, right? It'd be Buehler, Bauer, Kershaw, Bauer, Buehler, Kershaw. I mean, whichever way you want to go. It's ridiculous.
Yes, it is. And then, as you know, you get to the postseason, you can shorten your rotation a little bit, use some of those other arms out of the bullpen, whether if it's long relief or you can use them in tight situations. They are set up very, very nicely to be back in the NL Championship Series and World Series again.
Oh, and they have Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger and Justin Turner and Max Muncy.
Corey
and
Seager came
Corey
on. His
Seager.
offense came back last year.
Yeah. I mean, find me a weakness. I'm not sure where it is. I don't know. Maybe it's middle relief. They made a trade with the A's, got a middle reliever the other day. It is what it is. All right. I guess a couple teams have reached out for Zach Ertz. The Colts and the Seahawks are trying to strike a trade.
All right, Indy, here's the deal. Just say you want a first-round pick. We'll take Carson Wentz, and you know what? We'll give you a 3 and a 5 for Zach Ertz then. Just get the Eagles. Frank Reich wants that bad. Let's go.
So a 1, a 3, and a 5 for Ertz and Wentz is what you're saying.
Take on all that money for those guys. Just do it.
It's a lot of money. Yeah. What do you make of the Russell Wilson stuff over the weekend? I don't know that it's died down a lot. I see no way they move Russell Wilson. Of all the quarterback stuff that's moving, I still think Deshaun Watson moves. I'm certain Carson Wentz moves. I think Matt Ryan may move, which would mean I think Jim Garoppolo moves. Of all of this, the talk, the one that I just can't see happening is Russell Wilson leaving Seattle.
I agree. Like Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, these guys, you're talking about what you get in return is at least a shot at whether it's, there's Tua, or you're getting, a top 2 or 3 pick back. Like if I'm Seattle, if I'm trading Russell Wilson, then I'm trading him for a shot to draft Trevor Lawrence or to draft someone along those lines. And you're not getting that kind of return. So why would I entertain trading Russell Wilson? He's a guy that wants to win. It's like, hey, protect me better. Oh, guess what? Here's a fact for you. Do you know who's held on to the football longer than anyone else this past season? Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So maybe do a better job of getting the football out of your hands then.
Let me ask you this: if you're, because I was thinking this the other day. There's nothing that would make me want to trade Russell Wilson, except what can I package with Russell Wilson to get Deshaun Watson? What do they have? If you say, here's Russell Wilson and my first for Deshaun Watson, if you're who?
Even the age difference, like that's good enough to be straight up. Like I'm not giving any.
All right. But my thought is, if your Seattle front office, and if supposedly you are so upset that he could possibly go to the media and say something like he said, oh my God, the face of our franchise. Like if you're that pissed off, do you call Houston? Say, hey, I got something for you. Houston wouldn't take that because I don't think that would be enough. Like make Houston needs a package of picks. Because so they have Russell Wilson. They're in the same boat. They're still a crappy team with a good quarterback.
That's true,
right? Honestly, does it I don't know that it does them any good, but I would make the call, wouldn't you?
And this is one people get frustrated. Like you don't live with the expectations sometimes. If I'm sitting there, you got DK Metcalf, you got Tyler Lockett, you want to be better on the offensive line. Okay, that's what free agency draft is for. You traded a first-round pick for Jamal Adams. But that's what you thought was the best thing to do as a contender, to bring in a defender. Like Seattle's going to be okay. Now that division, you got to keep working because when you look at quarterback-wise, that's the best division in football right now. You give me Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray. Yeah, all right, Jimmy Garoppolo. The questions are out there, right? But it's still, you got work to do with the teams because the other franchises, at least with the Rams and San Francisco, they've shown you they can build. Like they got good defenses, established teams. You should have the best quarterback in the division.
Isn't it crazy? Going into this season, we were talking about it is the most quarterback stability we've ever seen, right? There was Jameis Winston and Cam Newton who could barely get a job. And now we're talking, I want to say, the least amount of quarterback stability we've ever seen. One football season later.
Oof. You just never know. Not for long, the NFL.
Jim Rome Show is next. The Dan Patrick Show is after that. Trulio and Carlisle are working today. They've got more local sports talk this afternoon with the Sports Bar at 3. J-Pole, Josh, thanks for trudging downtown, letting us watch you eat that food. Great job on the TV side. Micah, get a nap today? Can you get a nap in? Something? Great work. JJ, enjoy the day.
Have a day, y'all.
We'll be back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio for you at 7 a.m. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. Smell you tomorrow.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
Nice ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Nick Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Duma Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did! Oh my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.